What's up, guys? Welcome back to another weekly breakdown. We're going to go through the charts live again. We are on Tuesday mornings. We're going to talk through all the news that is starting from today. Starting off, we do have jobs today, which are looking quite weak. So we're not expecting too much there from the USD. As we go into later in the week, we have got Fed rate tomorrow and we do have NFP Friday. So really big news week coming to the end of the month as well in July. So we're definitely in a weird period where it is going to be a little bit harder to trade, probably going to see a lot of volume, and we already have that to this point already. We're looking to hold rates at the minute. I don't think we'll cut because I think Powell is still in at the minute and he doesn't want to be upset by Trump any more than he already has been. Probably being threatened to be taken out your job's quite a big thing, so we're not going to touch on that too much. We've been holding rates for a long time, so I don't really think this is the time to cut. Well, I think there is going to be a chance to cut a bit more later on in the year. As for employment index, we can see here it's looking very similar. It's nothing really too much there. Unemployment claims isn't very big, so Wednesday's a big one. We're going to see what the rate is. Advanced GDP is meant to be coming out quite strong, actually. I forgot to mention that one. We've seen 4 negative prints in a row, or 3 negative prints in a row, so it's not looking the best. Remember, advanced GDP out of the 3 is probably the most impact out of the 3. So this one is going to be quite important when we do see it. As we go on to the preliminary and we see the final, they're not as important. Something to keep in mind, just a little bit of extra knowledge there, if you haven't understood the fundamentals to that extent. As for Friday, we've got average hourly earnings. It's just been hovering around 0.2 to 0.5 really the last half a year, with NFP actually looking to come out quite weak. We have seen 4 positive prints in a row. So will we get that? And maybe it's just been undervalued and then we will get that bigger print. We'll have to wait and see. Unemployment rate 4.2, looking to actually see a rise. Considering last time we ended up coming out 4.1 when it's forecasted 4.3. That was quite a huge one. So we will see that change going into this week and actually get a bit more of a rise of unemployment. But really it's holding steady around 4%. ISM manufacturing is hovering around 50 as well. So a lot of the news on the USD is a little bit neutral at the minute. And I think it's more down to the tariffs, what we're going to see movement-wise. This is the first week EU and GU have been contrasting in the way that I've identified analysis for the week, which has been hard because all year they've kind of moved the same. EU did look good, and I spoke about this on Friday, I believe, when I saw this candle on Thursday closing in Gulf at a daily POI. So it made sense to pull back at that point. And on the weekly, it didn't really show that. So I sat there and I said, okay, am I going to go for a weekly confirmation bias? We did close above the previous weekly high and engulfed it. So to some degree, we were quite strong. And this low from previous week tapped into the weekly fill again. So it kind of looked quite good. It was leaving that area again. I understood the daily, and maybe looking back, I could have said, I'm going to wait for a daily confirmation. But I kind of trusted. And although this isn't the strongest area of interest, if we get this up, we can see that this is an area of interest here. So I was identifying that we should be respecting previous weekly lows. That's the first thing I try to identify. And if this tapped into the weekly fill again, I'm not expecting that to be broken. So I had that marked in, looking for a trade around there. So I was looking for 2 positions, but overall I could only identify 1 position because this was my area of interest. I could get 2R to the high, respecting previous weekly low. And that was really the move that I wanted to play. I think it was hard because I was selling GU. It's the first time I've took conflicting trades because I used to use the DXY as the confluence, which everyone was aligning with the DXY I would take, whereas now I don't do that. I will have to look through, and as a result of this trade, which did lose, I will look through my data and understand where am I going wrong when I do take trades that are different on EU and GU, 1 buy, 1 sell. Can it be valid, or do I need to reassess that? That's the thing I've already taken from this day, and something that I'm happy to see, because the first time it's happened, the first scenario, I could have checked my data already, and that's something I hadn't done, but I hadn't thought doing it because I hadn't really come across many ideas that this happened. And if it's the odd time it happens, I'm more than happy to lose one and win the other, because the higher chance is that you're going to get 1 loss and 1 win. But there has been times where I think both have won, taking the opposite trade. So it depends where you are on that first position as well. That was my weekly setup. I'm waiting for the pullback to give us confirmation to place at the high on the daily time frame. So that's my move I've set for the start of the week. If we go down and we start taking that previous weekly low, I'm going to have to wait, because overall in my head, if we don't go up, and this is a first failure to the current yearly high, we're going to be taking potential all the way back into these areas here at one down at 1.15 and below. This will be an inducement to come down to, and either we'll respect this daily leg because this will be the inducement, this is the low, or we'll end up clearing this and we'll see continued downside from that point, and we may start to be in a weekly trend transition phase. So that's my analysis for EU for the week. Didn't really have the best buyers looking back, but it's all good. As for GU, I was obviously selling this on Friday. So I'm sitting there going, all right, I'm already in a trade. I don't need to do anything. The weekly isn't giving me a higher time frame confluence to give myself entries, because that was the previous week where I took 2 losses. So happily I had to sit out of this, just let Monday play out. So yesterday played out. We saw price decimate down. The biggest candle we've seen in however long. It must be, put it this way, it's the biggest bearish candle we've seen all year, I think. So that tells you exactly why now we may go down. We're nearly already taken out. We might have already taken it out. Yeah, we've taken out this month's lows. We're making further monthly lows to finish the month. Look at how the structure is on the daily. It's really clean. And at least now, once we break this low, we can identify that we are bearish more than likely. I am now waiting. So what I'm going to see is I want to see this weekly fair value gap broken. And then I am looking for this low to be cleared. It does seem like quite a long way away, but I am looking for this low to be cleared. So we're going to see potentially something like this, or we're not, and we'll go up. But there's nothing in here to tell me that we're going to have issues coming back down, as long as we do get continuation of strong downside structure. And that's really it. Even just to give you guys an idea, when you're looking to the left, because it's always important to look at most recent price action. When we see this area here of pushing up past these highs, we created this gap. This gap got filled. This one here, right? We've seen that. If we start breaking down below that, there is nothing in here apart from this big unmitigated wick in the way of us clearing that low. So we may rush down really quick when we do see this trend change down to back to the downside now, that we are going to go down. And it's important to understand now we're not really bullish anymore. We're actually not. We need to start seeing the bearish confirmations here to give us the idea we can play all the way down to there. And I'll be looking for sells all the way to this low, as long as we can respect and push down strong past these areas. That's an important thing to note. As for GU, so we took 1 loss there yesterday. Obviously we can see how that just decimated my entry completely. So I was just completely wrong. That wasn't a really good daily POI, to be honest. I knew that bullish engulfing, I said it, that could give an easy sell back down, but is what it is, you know. I'm going to learn from this through looking through my data this weekend, so we're going to identify whether that was a worthy trade. As for GU yesterday, I mean, got the analysis spot on GU. I'm really happy with this, really happy, because you've got to understand the position I was coming from. I was -2 for the month. I've set this trade up. I took 2 losses. I'm -4 for the month. I've come on the Friday and gone, I'm getting in. That's still a valid move. And I've caught nearly 3R out of it. So overall, on this idea, which although it wasn't much, I profited off this idea, nearly an R. I can gracefully say that I only just got stopped out there, which I couldn't do anything about, and I still capitalized. And that is how I know I'm now a good trader, because a year ago, 2 years ago, pretty more like 2 years ago, I would have took the 2 losses and then not took the sell, because I would have sat out. Now I'm seeing things in a completely different light. I don't hesitate. I know my plan. I'd execute on it. And it is what it is. I knew that this, more than likely, taking the EU buy yesterday, one of them would lose. And looking at the way price was moving, it was appearing that EU would be the one that would lose. It didn't stop me from taking the trade. That's just how I do it. I don't leave it up to emotions. And that's the week. I don't think I'll be taking any more trades for the week. This is why I'm doing this now. I will come back at the end of the week, talk for everything that happened this week with the news and all that. That's really my week wrapped up. And I know now that's the end of my week. That's the end of my month. What is it going to take for me to take a trade on EU at the minute? I've already spoken about what I want to see. I want to see this low be cleared with a body. But I need to now see us make a low, pull back, and give me a confirmation to sell, which we're not going to get this week. I just know it. GU, same thing. I've played the sell, so I've caught the win. I need to wait for price to make a low. I need to see the weekly clear this weekly FVG, this one here. because we have just done the fill. There could be a chance we bounce. Either I'm waiting for us to create a lower high in here and break that for buys, or because really now we're solidly confirmed we're in bearish structure, I'm waiting for a pullback, engulfing bearish candle and looking for sells. But that, again, that's going to come next week. That's the importance of, especially being a higher time frame trader. You know when your move's done for the overall week or the month. Don't worry about the rest of the week. I'm not going to sit in now for the rest of the week and start analysing the charts. I've got today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to keep an eye on the news Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Come on the charts when the news comes in, have a look at how it's moving, and just enjoy the rest of the month now. And I'm not going to try and chase the month because I am in a losing month. But have I mitigated my risk overall? Obviously, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. But that's my month here wrapped up. We can see July, 5 losses, 1 win. And you don't know when that win's going to come in. And I could have had 2 there because of that. That trade there was very close to winning, which is really quite unfortunate. But as for a summer month where we've seen a trend change, that's the hardest period for me to trade, when we're in a transition of, okay, we were bullish and now we're starting to see that we're bearish, but I still capitalized on the sells, or especially on GU. So I'm very happy with that month. If you look at my losing months, again, I keep showing you, I know that I won't have an over 5-hour month loss. And also, what did I identify in my data? The reason why I risk 1% on FTMO is because I know on GU, I don't have more than a 3 losing streak. What have I seen? Loss, loss, loss. So when that trade came on Friday as well, I knew it had a very, very high probability that it would win, because I don't have more than 3 losses in my data. So there was much higher chance that if I did get stopped out on an unfortunate one, that was still the bias. We took the sell and we won it. And it's all about mitigating your losses. In these periods, especially, you can't account for whether you're going to be profitable in a month. I can account for whether I'll be profitable in a quarter though. And we've started off the quarter. The first month of that quarter is negative. But all I need is, even if another month is negative, I only need 1 positive month out of the 3. And if that month's big enough, I will make overall profit for the quarter. So I'm very happy with the way the month went, considering it was looking rough. I was in the position only, yesterday morning. I took a loss first before the win. I had 5 losses for the month. I sat there. I didn't close out GU early. I sat and let it play out. I could have had 6 losses for the month. And how as a trader do you deal with that psychology when them periods come in? You've just got to be confident. You've got to know that you're in the right idea, because you know over time, the amount of times you've gone through the repetition of taking that trade and the back testing, you know how it moves. You've been studying the live market for the last 6 to 8 months. You understand the fundamentals behind it. It all comes together. I'm telling you now, trading's really not that hard. The only thing that you're making it hard is because you try and force it. I'm now done with July. Let's go into August. We're here on Thursday, nearing the end of the week. We have had the Fed rate come out, and because I'm not taking any more trades, we'll finish the week off here. We're going to see what we do for NFP, come back through next week at the start of August, and really, just talk through how the monthlies are going to look to close, and really the mad week we've had, because it's been crazy. We saw a really good advanced GDP and ADP, really. So are we setting up for a pretty good NFP? We'll have to wait and see, but the Fed rate did come out as expected, which is what I suggested. They would probably come out as it has, and that has sent a ripple effect with the tariffs that we've seen across the board. And that's something I didn't really talk about on Monday, actually. When we went to EU here, this is the daily time frame, I haven't really discussed that the main thing, and maybe why fundamentally we didn't go up on EU to the highs, was because the trade tariff deal was really sealed and it was favourable for the USD. And I think I missed out on that. And I think I need to be, especially now, we're potentially seeing some dollar strength, be really hitting the fundamentals a bit more, because when they change, it's easier to keep in mind the fundamentals when you're trending. But when they change, you've got to understand, is this change for the short term, medium term, or long term? But the week's been massive. We've seen a weekly candle on EU of 370 pips. It may be the biggest bearish candle we've seen for a very long time. Very long time. Like, we're talking all the way back here in 2021. This candle was 300. So I think it's probably down here back from 2020 when you had COVID. It was probably the last time we actually saw that push being that big. a significant thing, especially because of how we've rallied up the whole year on the Euro USD and Pound USD. There's a significant pullback awaiting us, I believe, for us to come further down. With the monthly overall doing the imbalance fill here, which was a very big last monthly candle, didn't have a wick to the top, and we have pushed all the way down. The weekly time frame, you can see here that, yeah, I mean, it looks like we're going to really start coming down now, and this could be in jeopardy. 110 is really what I'm looking at. But I think as a whole, we're probably out of reach of any area now above 1.15, because even if we come up to retest, we're probably going to come back down. We've taken up this bullish leg now, so we're finally on the daily time frame. We're not even bullish on the daily anymore. This is where the trend is changing. So understand that we are now not looking for buys, and are quite on a few buys this month of EU. And EU as a whole this year has actually been way harder to trade than GU, and I've actually not really made much profit on EU. I'm hoping the next half of this year will give me some good profit. But that's a great sight to see, though, seeing this move come down. We're continuing. When you see three big candles pushing with severe volume, you know, it's a significant thing. We're probably going to see a pullback at some point. It's a question of how far, though. But I think that's the week wrapped up there, really. We may see further pushes down with NFP. We may not. If we do, we're going to get a 500 pip weekly candle. The weekly time frame has come into this wick now, so we're going to see if we can clear this low. This is obviously the liquidity I'll be targeting going into next week. We can see that we are leaving that weekly, which we spoke about. The daily has continued down ever since TP was smashed. Now here you've seen 5 bearish candles in a row. This is quite a big thing because we have cleared out all of this area now, and really you are going to be waiting for a pullback for a continuation. You could sell this low, but I just don't think it's going to play out higher time frame wise. Depends if you are looking for that last squeeze, maybe into this area, if you believe it's going to go there. But I do think that I'd wait for the weekly to finish and set up trades for next week. So that is the confirmation that I've been waiting for. And really, I would say, how long have I been waiting for that confirmation? Ever since price was probably up in here at the start of the month, end of last month, I was kind of eyeing up, is this going to continue anymore? It was hard to tell back in the time. And even with EU here, you can see that the pullback here wasn't very big. It was likely to have some kind of push back to the upside, and we did. But yeah, missed out on some moves here. So I had no buys in here that would have actually given me a win. The buys I took in here at the start of the month just lost. And then obviously I looked for further buys in here, which weren't the best, and they lost. So definitely some time to reflect on where the best moves were coming from for EU there, and seeing if there was any options. But that's the thing. A lot of capitalization during May and June, so really could have maximised EU a bit more then, which means I wouldn't have had a worry of having a couple of losses in this month. That is July wrapped up, minus 2.25R. We have a lot of trades left for the quarter. Just going to go into next month, really try and hone in on what happened this month that was different to the previous 6 months, because that has been a big change in what we're seeing currently. And yeah, keep an eye on the fundamentals, go back next week and hit it again. See you guys next time. Peace out. Take care.